just a phenomenon? Is it possible for everybody to be what you've become?
No, it's not, but it's possible for a lot of people to become successful and even very successful. I mean, you have to be given, and this is where luck comes in. You have to be born lucky in the sense that you have to have the right genes to go out, and if it's in my business, if it's making deals, if it's to become Jack Nicklaus or Chris Everett or Martina or
Let me ask you this.
You have to have a certain gene.
Good morning and welcome to AM Joy. So where are you from? It's a relatively innocuous question, which can be a little bit annoying if you're a person of color, but really, you know, no harm done. But in Trump's America, it has become really, really loaded. Here's how Trump might answer it. Donald Trump's mother, Mary Ann McLeod, was Scottish. Trump has said in the past that he feels Scottish. His grandfather, Friedrich Trumpf, was from Germany. His father, Fred Trump, reportedly anglicized the name to Trump in the 1940s and concealed the family's origins, claiming they were Swedish, because Fred, a real estate developer in Queens, New York, recognized that being German in the midst of World War II was bad for business. Fred Trump was also arrested at a Klan rally in New York in 1927. And he and his son Donald settled a complaint by Nixon's Justice Department in the 1970s for discriminating against black would-be tenants in their apartment buildings in Queens by putting C for colored on the applications. That is the story of the Trumps. But when Donald Trump talks about what he thinks America should look like going forward, what he apparently wants to see is more Friedrich Trumps and more Mary Ann McLeods and fewer people like my mother and father, who immigrated to the U.S. in the 1960s from British Guyana and the then newly independent Democratic Republic of Congo, respectively. Places that, according to Donald Trump, are, quote, shithole countries, as apparently are Haiti, El Salvador, Honduras, and every country on the African continent. According to Senator Dick Durbin, and first reported in the Washington Post, the president's assessment of much of the planet where the majority of people are not white came during an Oval Office meeting with members of Congress to hash out immigration policy that could impact 11 million undocumented immigrants living and working in the United States and the untold numbers who want to migrate to the U.S., as well as a DACA fix that will decide the fate of 800,000 young immigrants who could face deportation in March if Congress does not reach a deal. And joining me now is Pastor Mark Burns, co-founder and CEO of the Now television network and a member of the Donald Trump Evangelical Council. And Pastor Burns, first of all, good morning to you. Thank you for being here. Morning. So what is your reaction to Donald Trump calling the entire African continent, all 54 countries, and significant portions of the Caribbean, including Haiti, shithole countries? Pardon my language, and as I know you are a pastor.
Well, if, and this is allegedly, he said, and let's just be clear, this is an alleged, because there are two other members of Republican members that were in there, and they denied that the president stated. They didn't. They denied, or they said that it didn't come down the way that it has been portrayed. The president made it very clear.
One second before you go any further. The two senators you're talking about are Tom Cotton and David Perdue of Arkansas and Georgia, respectively. They did not deny that the president said it. They said they could not recall what the president said. And in fact, no one has denied it. And this is cut 6 from my producers. The White House issued a statement following what happened, and they too did not deny it. Their response to whether or not the president said what he is alleged by Dick Durbin to have said was, certain Washington politicians choose to fight for foreign countries, but President Trump will always fight for the American people. So no one has denied what he said.
Well, let's just be clear. Obviously, if because again, we still don't have proof.
No one's denied he said it.
We don't have proof.
Lindsey Graham also said he said it.
Joy, we don't have proof.
Lindsey Graham,
we don't have proof.
Excuse me, were you in the room? Because the people in the room said that he said it.
Were you in the room?
I don't have to be, because people in the room said he said it.
There were people in the room also said that he did not say it.
No, there was no one in the room.
And I also have it on high authority from the White House that he did not say it.
Really? High
authority? So were
you
in the room?
No.
So were you in the room?
The bottom line is,
so can you say for a fact, Joy, that he said it?
Yes, I can. Lindsey Graham.
No, you cannot. You're taking other people's words for it.
And you're
taking other people's words.
As opposed to your highly placed sources in the White House.
So I'm saying allegedly. That's all I'm saying.
Lindsey Graham, excuse me. Lindsey Graham, who also confirmed to Tim Scott, his fellow South Carolina senator, that Donald Trump said it, said following comments by the president, which he acknowledges he said, I said my piece directly to him yesterday. The president and all those attending the meeting know what I said and how I feel. I've always believed that America is an idea not defined by its people and its ideas. So Lindsey Graham, who is one of the most servile supporters of Donald Trump, also says he said it. So let's move on from that.
I think it's cowardly.
Let's move on from that. Let's move on from that.
If he said it, they should come out and say he said it.
What is your response? I agree with that. They absolutely are cowardly for not saying it to cameras, as Dick Durbin did. Now let's get to the substance of it. What are your thoughts on the President of the United States referring to the 54 countries on the African continent, Haiti, and other countries as shithole countries? Your response to that?
Well, first of all, you know, it would be preposterous if it was said. I mean, I would disagree wholeheartedly to even call these countries, Nigeria, African countries, plenty of countries that are not S-hole countries. I mean, so I would completely disagree, disavow any type of a language that is spoken. That's not how I would speak, and I wouldn't want to be connected to people who would talk like that. But let's just get to the real heart of the matter.
But you are connected to the president because you're on his evangelical council.
His words and not his deeds. The fact is, there are many of those countries like Haiti who are in destitute. They're in the worst situations because of governments that are not taking care of their own people. Now, we're talking about people leaving their own country and coming to America, when in reality, President Trump clearly ran on a Make America Great Again policy, which is why he won. Americans want people, if they do come to America, to offer something that's going to be better for America, not simply send people who, because of their weak, broken governments, dishonorable in a lot of ways, governments in some of these countries who are not taking care of their own people. The Bible says in 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse number 8, that a person is worse than an infidel when they refuse to take care of their own people, of their own kind. And so I just believe President Trump was simply saying, it is clear that we loved our neighbor. People say, well, Pastor, what about loved our neighbor? Well, of course, we loved our neighbor, which is why we love them a lot. We send hundreds of millions of dollars of aid to many of these countries. And these corrupt governments and corrupt leaders are taking advantage of the people that are there. Even the Clintons, who allegedly stole millions and millions of dollars. But the fact of the matter is, we do love our neighbor. We do help. We don't leave people destitute. We send, and those millions of dollars could be coming to America to help other black people, other minorities
Can I
in
get
our
a word
own
in
country.
edgewise? Can I get a word in edgewise on A.M.
It is
Burns?
your show.
Okay, good.
It is your
So
show.
you quoted, I want to unpack a couple of things you said. You quoted 1 Timothy 5 through 8, and that verse refers to a man who would not take care of his own family and immediate family. There's another verse in the Bible, and I'm a church girl. All right, I used to teach Sunday school back in Denver, Colorado when I was in high school, so I love a Bible verse myself.
Talk more church when you're on this television show.
Hold on a second. No,
talk
we're
more
going to have
about
church
Jesus
this morning.
when
I
you're on
have
the
a
show.
pastor on, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to quote the word of the Lord. Isaiah 10:2. In the Bible says, woe to those who enact evil statutes and to those who constantly record unjust decisions so as to deprive the needy of justice and rob the poor of my people of their rights, so that widows may be their spoil and that they may plunder orphans. The Bible says a lot about caring for others and widows and orphans. The Bible verse you talked about, talking about caring for one's own family and immediate family, this Bible verse that is repeated much more in the Bible talks about caring for the least of these and widows and orphans. So you talked about, hey, hold on a second, so you talked about Haiti in specifically being a country that's not caring for its own people and that it has a government that's corrupt and a system that's broken. Then how can you, as a man of God, justify sending people back to such a country? If the country is so broken, then how can you, as a man of God, justify sending people back to that country?
This is not about sending people back to the country.
That's what Donald Trump's policy is.
What we're
you said, look
talking
at his
about
deeds.
is
that is his policy.
The D's is the African American. The D's are this.
Nope.
Words
Answer
are
my
these.
question first.
African American unemployment in America is at an all-time
We're not talking about sending African Americans to Haiti. We're talking about.
We're talking about taking care of America first.
Time out.
This
Time out, because I'm going to get an answer to my question before you do another soliloquy.
I understand
I let you talk for quite a long time.
This is the United States of America.
How do you justify, sir? You're the one who said that this is about Trump's deeds. Trump's deed is to revoke TPS and send Haitians back to Haiti, a country you said is ill-equipped to take care of its own people. How do you justify that?
It is not the responsibility of the United States of America to be the United States of the global world. This is the United States of America. you, Joy. I
So what you're
am
saying,
American.
okay, so
the
what you're
president of the
saying-
United States' job, his vow and oath was to protect and to defend the Constitution of the United States and the citizens of the United States. Now, we are not leaving those people to die. We are sending aid.
Them to. You're sending them to die.
But
and
we're
let me ask you
sending
this
millions
question.
of dollars.
Do you believe,
let me
hold
say,
on a second, what
let me
is
ask you a
the
question.
Hold on,
Do you
no, you don't have to
believe,
ask me questions
do
because
you
when I'm on
believe that
AM Burns, you can
millions
ask
of
whatever you
dollars,
want.
the millions of dollars that we send to
sure.
Haiti
Your
and
party
those other
wants to
countries,
cut the aid as
couldn't
well.
we,
Your party doesn't believe in foreign aid.
wouldn't that
So
money
let's
do
talk-
good here in America?
Hold
Wouldn't
on
that
a
money
second.
do good for other African Americans? Let's
what
talk
about-
about the
hold on a
black
second, hold on a
mothers.
second, hold on a
Let's talk
second.
about the black fathers.
Yeah.
Let's talk
Do
about
you
the
believe,
black
okay, then I
single
think you are
moms
now
in America.
Are you then advocating for universal health care to make sure that those black mothers and fathers in this country have
Let's
universal
talk
health
about
care?
the NFL mothers of the NFL players who are not getting their money.
Are you kidding?
Let's talk about
right
the mothers. Yes, they're black mothers.
What does the NFL
mothers.
have to do with
the NFL
universal
mothers?
health
We're talking
care?
about black people in America. Let's talk about black people in America. We're talking about black people
do
in
you
Haiti.
Believe that they
Let's
should
talk
get
about black people in America.
universal health care?
And there is one thing that the president, I do disagree. There's one thing that the president and I do disagree with.
There is one thing.
Yes, I disagree that I don't think we need more, in reference to his Norwegian immigration policy, I don't think we need any more white liberals coming to America. I think we need to share it all, and if we open the door, as we open the door, we don't need more white liberals coming to this country. So
are you saying that you want to have a policy based on people's ideology? So, well, Norwegians have been quite clear that they don't want to come here and give up their universal health care.
Joy.
I have one more country. I know where I live. One last country.
America.
I'm going to ask you one more question and attempt to get an answer to it.
America
you know what? I'm one of them, so I happen to know that there are plenty of black people here.
So am I.
So what is?
And they're suffering, Joy. So we're talking about Haiti.
What is the role?
President Trump.
I'm going to give you one more chance to answer my question, and then we're going to be done here because you're actually wasting my time when you talk over me
Joy,
and
you're
don't
wasting
answer
my
my
time
question.
when you're not talking.
Oh, well, then if I'm wasting
Americans.
your time, then goodbye. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you, Joy.
Don't forget to click subscribe. It's almost as satisfying as skip ad.